Welcome back to AFT Dice Season 3. It is round 15. Let's go to the first game. It's Collingwood versus Western Bulldogs. Let's go to the first quarter. All right, the first quarter is nearly done. Okay, Collingwood's kicked 6 goals, 6 to Western Bulldogs, 3-2. Collingwood are up by 22 points at the moment. All right, let's go to the second quarter. Second quarter's nearly done. All right, Collingwood's kicked 6-1 and Western Bulldogs 6-3. And at half-time, Collingwood are leading by 20 points. All right, let's go to the third quarter. And the third quarter, Collingwood's kicked 3-2 to Western Bulldogs 2-4. And at three-quarter time, Collingwood are leading by 4 goals. All right, let's go to the last quarter of this game. And Collingwood's kicked 2-4 to Western Bulldogs 5-2. But in the end, Collingwood still win this game by 8 points. The final score, Collingwood 17-13, 115 to Western Bulldogs 16-11, 107. All right, let's go to the next game. It's St Kilda versus Fremantle. Okay, first quarter's done. St Kilda's kicked 5 goals, 6-36 to Fremantle 1-5-11. All right, let's go to the second quarter. Second quarter's done. St Kilda's kicked 2-3 to Fremantle 4-2. And at halftime, St Kilda are leading by 14 points. All right, let's go to the third quarter. Third quarter's done. St Kilda 6-5. That quarter to Fremantle 4-3. And St Kilda have got a handy lead of 28 points. They're a game clear at the moment on top. It could well be maybe 2 games clear. All right, let's go to the final quarter. And St Kilda have won this game by 40 points. The final score, St Kilda 18-18, 126 to Fremantle 12 goals, 14-86. All right. Let's go to the next game. It's Hawthorn versus Richmond at Marvel Stadium. The Hawks have kicked 3-2, 20 to Richmond 5-1, 31. All right, let's go to the second quarter of this game. And Hawthorn have kicked 1-2 to Richmond 6-2. And Richmond have got a handy lead of 41 points at halftime. Let's go to the third quarter. Third quarter's done. Hawks have kicked 6 goals, 6 to Richmond 3-4. And at three-quarter time, Richmond are leading by 21 points. Let's go to the last quarter of this game. Hawks have kicked 5-4 to Richmond 5-6. And in the end, Richmond have won by 23 points. The final score is Hawthorn 15-14, 104 to Richmond 19-13, 127. All right, let's go to the next game. It's Gold Coast versus GWS Giants at Metricon Stadium. All right. Gold Coast have kicked 5-4 to GWS 4-5. And at quarter time, GWS are trailing by 5 points. Let's go to the second quarter. Gold Coast have kicked 4-2 to GWS 5-6. And at halftime, GWS are winning by 5 points. All right, let's go to the third quarter. And Gold Coast have kicked 3-1 to GWS 2-1. And at three-quarter time, Gold Coast are leading by 1 point. The way this game's going, GWS could win this game. Let's go to the last quarter. And Gold Coast have kicked 2-2 to GWS 5-4. And GWS have won this game by 19 points. Gold Coast 14-9, 93 to GWS 16-16, 1-1-2. All right, let's go to the next game. It's Essendon versus Geelong at Marvel Stadium. First quarter's done. Essendon have kicked 4-6 to Geelong 4-2. All right, let's go to the second quarter. Second quarter's done. Essendon have kicked 6-6 to Geelong 6-3. Essendon are leading by 7 points at halftime. Essendon are on the bottom of the ladder at the moment, but they could win this game. Essendon kicked 6-5 to Geelong 5-2. And at three-quarter time, Essendon are leading by 16 points. Let's go to the last quarter. And the last quarter's done. Essendon have kicked 3-3 to Geelong 5-1. But in the end, Essendon have won this game by 6 points. Final scores 19-20, 134 Essendon to Geelong 20 goals, 8, 128. All right, let's go to the next game. It's Sydney versus Brisbane. Okay, Sydney have kicked 4-3 to Brisbane 4-3, and at quarter time it's level. All right, let's go to the second quarter of this game. Sydney have kicked 2-4 to Brisbane 5-5, and at half time, Brisbane are leading by 19 points. Let's go to the third quarter. Third quarter's done. Sydney have kicked 3-1 to Brisbane 2-2. And at three-quarter time, Sydney are trailing by 14 points. Let's go to the last quarter. And the last quarter's done. Sydney have kicked 1-6 to Brisbane 2-2. And in the end, Brisbane have won this game at the SCG by 16 points against Sydney. The final score, Sydney 10-14, 74 to Brisbane 13-12, 90. All right, let's go to the next game. It's Carlton versus Melbourne. And the first quarter's done. Carlton have kicked 1-2, 8 to Melbourne 6-4, 40. Melbourne got out of the blocks in this game. Second quarter, Carlton have kicked 2-4 to Melbourne 5-4. And at half time, Melbourne are leading by 50 points. All right, let's go to the third quarter. Third quarter's done. Carlton have kicked 2-5 to Melbourne 1-5. But Melbourne are still leading by 44 points. Let's go to the last quarter to see how big this margin will be. And in the end, Carlton have kicked 6-4 to Melbourne 1-1. And Melbourne have only won by 11 points. All right, let's go to the next game. It's North Melbourne versus West Coast. North Melbourne are 9 wins, 5 losses. West Coast 7 wins, 7 losses. And after the first quarter, North Melbourne have kicked 1-6 to West Coast 3-5. All right, let's go to the second quarter of this game. And the second quarter's done. North Melbourne have kicked 4-2 to West Coast 1-2. And at half time, North Melbourne are leading by 7 points. Let's go to the third quarter of this game. And the third quarter is pretty even. North Melbourne kicking 6-3 to West Coast 6-2. And at three-quarter time, West Coast are trailing by 8 points. Let's go to the last quarter. The last quarter's done. North Melbourne have kicked 1-3 to West Coast 6-5. And in the end, West Coast have won this game at the Marvel Stadium by 24 points. Final scores, North Melbourne 12-14, 86 to West Coast 16-14, 110. All right, let's go to the last game of the round. It's Port Adelaide versus Adelaide Crows. The showdown at the Adelaide Oval. Let's see the first quarter's done. Port Adelaide's kicked 1-4-10 to Adelaide for 3-22. All right, let's go to the second quarter of this Last game of the round. And Port Adelaide have kicked 1-6 to Adelaide 5-5. And Adelaide Crows have kicked are winning by 35 points at half time. Let's go to the third quarter. And Port Adelaide have kicked 1-5. They just can't get their mojo going in this game. Adelaide have kicked 3-5, and Adelaide are winning by 47 points. This could well put Adelaide in the top 8 if they win this game. And the last quarter's done. Port Adelaide's won the quarter 4-5 to Adelaide 3-5. But in the end, Adelaide Crows have won by 41 points. The final scores, Port Adelaide 7-20-62 to Adelaide Crows 14-19, 103. All right, let's go. Let's have a look at the ladder after round 15. And we've got St Kilda on top with a game clear in front of GWS, who are one game clear of third spot. And then we've got Port Adelaide, Brisbane, North Melbourne on 36 points. And then rounding out the 8, we've got Sydney, West Coast, and Richmond on 32 points. Adelaide are just outside the 8 on percentage. And with only 2 rounds to go, we've got Western Bulldogs, Gold Coast, and Essendon all fighting out for the wooden spoon. All right, next week we've got round 16, which is the second last round. We've got Port Adelaide, Western Bulldogs playing Fremantle and Collingwood at the Optus Stadium. Richmond versus St Kilda. We've got GWS Giants versus Hawthorn. Geelong versus Gold Coast at Geelong's home ground. We've got Brisbane versus Essendon at the Gabba. We've got Carlton versus Sydney at Marvel Stadium. West Coast versus Melbourne at Optus Stadium. And Adelaide Crows versus North Melbourne at Adelaide Oval. All right, that concludes round 15 for AFT Dice Season 3. We'll see you next time.